Hey, I'm Rian, or in this case, April, and I've recently published another animation. This animation has probably given me the most amount of headaches ever known to man, and that says a lot since I don't get headaches frequently. Anyways, this video is a Q&A session and the behind the scenes of my latest animation, Secret Life SMP animation, as this has given me the most amount of experience with working on an animation. Probably the most biggest and most ambitious project I've worked on for ages. Anyways, without further ado, let's go answer the first question. Also, fair warning that I am not a professional. Most of the things that I will be talking about are from my experience as a self-taught animator and being helped by my friends. So my methods may come off as unorthodox. Although I am going to an animation school soon, so who knows if I will improve way farther. Things Never Told says, "Hi, I just watched the animation and can I just say that it was outstanding, like insanely good. The whole narrative, illustrations, and colorization was off the charts. Everything about it was great, and I especially liked the smoothness of the roll at 305. A couple of questions. What apps did you use to create the glowing effects? They were incredible. And also, what was the most challenging sequence to animate? Thank you so much for creating such an amazing video that I'm sure will go down in history as one of the best Minecraft animations to be made once it gets the recognition it deserves." First of all, oh my god, thanks for that support, holy crap. I appreciate you all so much. Wow. Now, what apps do I use? I use Toon Boom Harmony Premium for my recent animations, as I recently switched from Tahoma 2D to Toon Boom because I felt really limited by the software, as coloring there is an actual nightmare. I also use Premiere Pro to compile and clip together the entire project as a whole. For the second question, it's the scene of Cleo and Grian, mainly due to the fact that I had to learn about how the node view works and how to apply it effectively. Actually, here's what it looked like in the software. I genuinely would understand if anybody finds this very disorienting or confusing. Trust me, it's simpler than it looks. The Smambo would say,
It's quite simple, really.
Purple Kit Kat asked me, what scenes or dialogue were you most excited to animate? It's the fight scenes, specifically Grian versus Jamenda Scott's. I still am really proud of how well I executed that fight scene in my animation, and a lot of you guys really liked it as well, so I am really proud of that one. And I'm so glad you all liked it as much as I did. Desert Rose asked me, how did you start animating? I've always wanted to learn animation since like 2016, when I discovered the beauty that is Alan Becker. It's always been one of my biggest inspirations of all time. I've actually tried animating back in like 2019 with an animation on the shorts section named Black vs Orange Part 1, in which my friends mocked me for, which is quite deserved, I'm not gonna lie. No, I will never make a part 2 unless I'm bored, or if my friends force me. Pat Inc. asked me 2 questions. One was, how long did it take me to make the animation, and the other being, how did I learn how to animate to humans so well? First of all, the animation took me roughly around 6 months of work with a little bit of breaks in between. The production for the animation started roughly around December 27th, but I finished the project on the 10th of July. Secondly, that's a hard question, but the most I can give you is that you need to keep in mind the weight is different and varies from person to person, and also that us humans follow an arc. This is expanded by the 7 principles and the 12 principles of animation, which you can have a summary of by Alan Becker on the top right. Calamity Clips asks, roughly how many hours did you put into it? That is a difficult question. I never usually keep track of my time I spent on a project, but I know damn well that I've done like several sessions where I've animated for 15 hours a day. Rough total amount, I'd say around 4,000 hours, or roughly around 5.7 months, not counting the breaks in between. Shatani asked, how did you come up with the designs? Did you base them off of their skins entirely, or did you add some headcanons as well? Well, I based them off of the actual skins. I usually stick by the canon designs in all of my animations, so it's quite rare for me to add some headcanons into my character designs. The only headcanon designs I've added is Scar and Gem's Heart Chains, Martin's dog ears, which is reminiscent of my run design for my third life animation, and Grian having a cloak, which I took from Cherry Fire when she drew his Secret Life movie thumbnail, and also Grian's wings popping up whenever he takes a big leap. This has appeared twice, once in my Secret Life animation and once in my third life animation. QBQ asked, waffles or pancakes? Pancakes. Sunday asked me 2 questions. What inspired you to make this video? If you did have an inspiration, then what was it? And what's your favorite color? if you even have one. The first question is an obvious one. Saddest. From her usage of cinematography and camera work, I've genuinely adored their art. But it's not only Saddest that has inspired me to do the project, it's also you, the fandom, and the community. The second question is also an obvious one. Purple. All of my previous Sona designs always had purple in them, actually. Anavilia Senor, I think that's how it's pronounced, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Was Car your main POV for Secret Life? If not, who was it? Surprisingly, it's not. I've only watched Car's full POVs for both Last Life and Double Life only. I'm only actually recently watching his entire Secret Life POV as I write the entire script of this QnA. The only POVs I've caught up to were the entirety of Mounders, Grians, and Martins for Secret Life. Photopo said, Earth felt so iconic. He genuinely made something I will find enjoyed in analyzing and rewatching, with fluid translations, framing, and effort. I admire it a lot. Keep up the good work. It's a masterpiece and I hope the live series community takes it to heart. That being said, any favorite POVs? Other arcs and seasons you enjoy with the same amount of detail and depth? First of all, thank you for the very kind words. I do hope the community loves and takes this to the heart, like how the arrow went through. Anyways, any favorite POVs? I genuinely love the arcs of Monopoly Mountain versus Dogwarts, and god I love the parallel of Martin and Grian's POV. I could genuinely talk about Third Life as it's still one of my top seasons based on the story. Another is Pearl's Double Life arc where she goes insane for the first few episodes due to the fact that Scott abandons her. And then at the finale, it just loops all around to itself of Scott sacrificing to her. And another being Martin's Last Life, specifically the entire Eyes and Ears Say You. Trust me, I've spent 6 hours writing an entire document about that, sharing that onto Tumblr, only for Martin freaking Littlewoods to see it and comment on it. I'm gonna scream. TS Piv asked, how did you come to liking the live series for Hermitcraft? I always like hearing people's introduction stories. I was introduced to Hermitcraft through Mambo back in like 2017. I was introduced to his content via the Minecraft is Ruined video, in which he jokingly said that he was quitting Minecraft. So I checked his other content, saw that he is still playing Minecraft, and watched his Hermitcraft Season 5 of Episode 0. And that, folks, is how I learned what sarcasm is. And also Hermitcraft. Arts and Staff said, I've been wanting to make Saddest like animations recently and you seem pretty good at that kind of style. So here are some questions. First of all, thank you for the compliment. I've always loved her animation style for so long, so trying to learn that was a process and I'm glad that it comes off well. Now, for the questions. What or who inspired you to make animations or make art? It's obvious. I've said this earlier, Saddest and Alan Becker, but also my friends and other artists as well have been my inspirations too. Shout out to my online friend group for just sticking around by my side as I worked on my previous projects, but also a big shout out to Sulfur and Gloris specifically for inspiring me even more further. You guys should check them out and I'll be linking them down below. Another inspiration is Gilded Guy House, the artist to make Eve's music videos and the entire Hyun's Dojo community, as the community has helped me learn and make combat animations by studying them, so I'll also be linking them down below. How is your animation process like? Well, my animation process is a bit of a mess. So I try to make the audio or find some songs to make an animatic of and try separating them clips by clips. Or, well, more like sequences to sequences. Here's a confession I've gotta make. I barely do any sketching. I do the layout or the storyboard of the scene, do the line art, do the background, and do the effects, and pause it. That's it. That's a sequence done. How long does the sketching part of an animation take? Well, since I just confessed that I barely sketch for an animation and do the layout instead, it takes me like around a day or two to do dialogue heavy scenes, but action heavy scenes take the longest, in which most of them will take either a few weeks or a few days. The entire sequence of Tangosta to Grian and Cleo took me maybe around a month to storyboard, mainly because I procrastinated on that, got addicted to playing Tetris, and yeah. How do you make the action scenes, such as fighting and exaggerated movements? I'll go back to that later as many people ask that, so I'll just compile them into one section. How do you make the actual audio for your animations? For example, the voice lines, music, etc, etc. I use the software Audacity to edit the audio. For taking the voice lines from each video, I use a browser extension called Chrome Audio Capture, where if you press record while a video is playing, it will record the audio. For music on the other hand, I just use two-way songs or pick a song from my playlist in which my brain just thinks, oh, I could make an animatic out of this. So yeah, I've been wanting to find other artists that make cinematic-like music for the style of animation I do, since I know I'm gonna get some slack for using the same songs as Sodis does on her Dream SMP animations. So yeah, I'm still on the hunt for that. Inako asked, how do you do all the cool transitions and camera movements? They're so cinematic and beautiful. 1. Aw, thank you. I've studied a few movies to learn cinematography actually, and I'm really glad it came across well to y'all. 2. I do my cool transitions using easing in and easing out, as cameras in real life that people use don't move in a linear speed, as they're controlled by humans and mechanisms to accelerate. I've also learned a few things about cinematography from Studio Binder, which I will link down below as well. Hala Animations asked several questions. What is your favorite life series? It genuinely depends on the criteria, story-wise, Third Life, Angst, Double Life or Last Life. The best ending, Secret Life. But my favorite out of all is definitely Secret Life. Maybe it's because of the recency bias, but the shenanigans were so fun, silly, and goofy. Like every episodes were so stupid, and I loved every aspect of it, so yeah, my favorite is Secret Life. How did you make the mouth animation so smooth? Good question. Usually I try mimicking how I open my mouth whenever one of the members speaks. I also have a mouth spreadsheet created by Domix, a storytime animator whom I've watched as a kid. He also made a tutorial in which I've learned how to lip sync there. So yeah, it's very useful. How did you make the fire animation? That's another frequently asked question, so we'll get back to that later. That's all the questions I have. Thank you. Love your animations and art style. Keep up the great work. Aw, thank you. I will keep up my great work. Only here for funny videos ask 3 questions. What were your favorite and least favorite scenes to work on? My favorite scene to work on was the fight between Gem and Pearl. Are there any scenes that got cut or you wish you could have showcased that didn't fit the video? Yes. I've actually scrapped a different version of the credit sequence where instead of Scar reading the task, it was Grian. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to fit Impulse's death, which is a bit of a bummer since I do try fit every death in the final sessions as much as possible. Are there any Easter eggs or details that people haven't found or noted yet? I am very sure that a few people have realized this, but at the last frame, you can see there's someone always watching. There are also a few coloring errors in the animation, but it's hard to spot on the first watch, considering that it moves quite quickly that your eyes doesn't process it. Timo asked, how do you keep your motivation up? I painted it so hard for me to keep motivated and finish a piece. I imagine a full animation will be even worse. But I also wanted to say thanks for making such an amazing animation. It was so well done. I was literally kicking my feet watching it. My roommate thought I'd gone crazy lol. 1. You're welcome and thank you too for watching it. And 2. Talking to friends, listening to music or watching videos alongside or listening to podcasts is what keeps my motivation up. I also put constant reminders onto myself or even incentives to get myself motivated. I also do a few warm-up sketches to get the groove of things when starting the day. But I've also listened to a lot of Hamilton while I was working, so yeah, that's something to note off. When in doubt, listen to Hamilton. Kitty Ninja asked me some questions. Do you have any favorite live series characters or POVs? Do you have a favorite live series season? I've already answered those questions earlier, so let's answer the other 2. What tools or apps do you use for drawing and animating? I use Toon Boom Harmony for animating and Clip Studio Paint for drawing, although you can use that as an animation software as well, although I am not much of a fan of it, so yeah, pick your poison I guess. Do you have any advice for me who wants to get into art and animation but doesn't know where to start? A few advice I should give for animating is that, and it's also a pretty recent tip I've learned, make your animations as rough as possible. Focus more about the motion and once you get that done, you can do the tie downs and cleanup. But also try practicing it. I also recommend reading and doing the 51 animation exercises by Animator Island as they can help you understand animation. I also recommend reading the animation bible titled The Animator Survival Kit by Richard Williams. You can find an archive of it which I will be linking down below as well. So yeah. For drawing on the other hand, focus more on the fundamentals and the principles. Don't focus on getting an art style first. It's more important to do the fundamentals as they can help you progress a little bit more further, and as the name suggests, they are quite fundamental. Focus on simplifying the things you see into basic shapes and forms as well. And that's it. Fragment Fairy asked, what a username. How do you keep your sanity while animating that big of a project? Taking small breaks in between keeps up my sanity. Playing some Minecraft or Tetris in between makes it digestible. Also, organizing stuff is also what keeps me really sane. God, I cannot stress enough how much I need to organize my files. Like, I need to separate everything out from folders to folders, layers from layers, everything. So, yeah, that's another important thing that keeps my sanity up while working on a project that is this big. During the process, did you ever think about giving up on it? Nope. It's actually quite hard for me to give up on a specific project I aspire and find huge interest in doing, so yeah. Lastro asked, when episode 9 dropped and the Red Purge began, who were you hoping to win the season? I was hoping for Joel to win because of the fan art by Hex and Terracotta Cory. I don't know if that's the correct way to pronounce it, but yeah. These, it's so cute, but god, it's so angsty. I love it so much. Anyway, welcome to my brain rot, I guess. Lighta Sky asked, what or who inspired you to start drawing? My Hero Academia original characters. It's pretty embarrassing to say that, but I also had my own My Hero Academia OCs, so what playlist do you normally listen to while drawing? I have my own playlist actually. It's linked down below and it's mainly composed of Crane Wife songs. So, yeah. I guess that's what you'd expect from a live series fan. And the most important question, opinion on cheesy fries. Banger. Although I do prefer salted fries, cheesy fries are pretty good. I just wish they don't leave dust on your fingers though, so it's cool. Now, the biggest and frequently asked questions are, drumroll please. Number 1, how did I do all of the fight scenes? And number 2, how did I do all of the fire animation? For fighting scenes, I've actually used stick figure animations with a straight ahead approach to do every long fight scenes. For example, Grian's 3v1, that was animated using stick figures. Gem vs Pearl, that was also animated by stick figures. It's a weird approach, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. Although one of the things I've actually learned with this approach is that some poses can look stiff once they turn into full body figures, so I gotta keep that in mind for future projects. And another tip I can give is that maybe look for other animations and movies for inspirations. For inspiration, I've watched these fight scenes right here. You could have like a sort of an idea of what you could do by using reference or inspiration. So yeah, look for inspirations and references. Now for the fire animation on the other hand, using some references has helped me a lot with how fire works from a certain point. The important thing to note is that the fire has a source of where it comes from. For example, we have Tango Ser and Pearl Sword, which is the source of the fire. I use this reference specifically for the fight of Pearl and Gem. I know it's a stupid reference to use since it's a meme, but then again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. And that's it. Those are the questions I'm able to answer for today. Thank you for helping me reach 2,600 subscribers. I appreciate all of your support and I will continue pushing forward with another project. Speaking of, I may have another project that's in the pre-production stage, so be sure to watch out for like a few months. I don't know. It's a really long project. It's actually 6 minutes. And yeah, who knows when it will release. Anyways, stay safe, drink some water, and be sure to stretch, and I'll see you all in the next project. Bye!